What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and today we've got a blade, guys. We got a blade that's big enough that I had to move the camera way up to get it all in the frame. We've got another fine product from TwoSun Knives, the TS888 clip point styled 8-inch chef knife. That is a mouthful, isn't it? This is a really cool knife. It is a chef's knife, so this is not something you're going to be EDCing or anything like that. You're not going to be doing any woodcraft with it. We are going to talk about it a little bit because I think at its price point, it is a fantastic deal. It is a fantastic deal. Now, I do want to thank Justin over at White Mountain Knives, who I think, as much as I like White Mountain Knives, it seriously is the best place that I have found to buy TwoSun products. Because in the United States, they don't have a distributor network. So typically the way you buy them is you go find it on eBay and you start bidding on it. Well, then it's going to bid up over what it's worth, or there may be a couple of listings that are buying now and they're priced way over what they typically go for. I just like to go to Justin. I just like to go to Justin, shop over there, use a discount code. He had this knife for $45.99. You use a 10% discount code, you get it for $41.39 shipped to your door. That's a fantastic deal on a very high quality 8-inch chef's knife. This knife has a lot going for it. Let's get very quickly. We're going to bring the packaging in here. It is just a sort of vinyl cover TwoSun box. Inside that box, you're going to find the knife comes in a guard like this, a generic guard. We've got a generic cut for the inside foam, but everything fits really well in it, and that's how it comes. I mean, really, for $41, I'm not expecting more in packaging. I'm very pleased with the more that I get in the knife. Okay, so let's go ahead and knock out dimensions first. This is what you would consider an 8-inch chef's knife. The blade is 8.2 inches or 20.5 centimeters. Your blade width at the widest is 2 inches or slightly less than 5 centimeters. The stock thickness is 82 thousandths of an inch or 2 millimeters approximately. Handle length 4 3/4 of an inch, and that's 12 centimeters. Handle thickness is, 852 thousandths of an inch or 21.5 millimeters. Overall length 13 1/4 inches or 33.5 centimeters. Behind the edge thickness 9 thousandths, and I think that's stretching a little bit. I think it's more like about a heavy 8 thousandths, and that's about 0.22 millimeters. Your weight is 9.3 ounces or 264 grams. So you do get some weight from this sort of drop forge type of construction we will talk a little more about. It is very well balanced. It is very handy. It is everything you would expect in an 8-inch chef's knife as far as the feel in hand. Let's take a look at materials, and I think that's one place this knife and a lot of the offerings from TwoSun shines. So, in chef knives, if you spend $200 on a Hinkle chef's knife, you do not know what the blade steel is because they don't tell you. They've got some sort of internalized name for it, and that's what they tell you. But it's not what the blade steel is. TwoSun is very honest with their blade steels. They're very upfront across their entire product line. This knife is bladed in Sandvik's 14C28N, which is a high carbon performance mid-grade stainless steel. It was developed by Sandvik to use in cutlery. It is very popular. It is one of the more popular modern sort of improved 440C-esque blade steels. And that's that whole sort of mid-range. To me, being in knives for so many decades and remembering when 440C was the stainless steel, these steels like 14C in that mid-range, they took everything that 440C did and just incrementally improved on it. Improving the alloy mixture, improving the grain structure, improving the heat treat and tempering on it. 14C is a pretty decent steel. Now, Sandvik says you're typically going to find the Rockwell range on it 55 to 62. So I'm going to think this is going to be around 59, 60. That's pretty decent. I think that'll make it readily able to strop back in between sharpenings, maybe use a ceramic stick in between sharpenings. I think you can get that edge and keep it maintained very well. Materials in the handle, very simple. You've got G10 for your handle scales. That is different than what you will commonly see on chef's knives. Most production chef's knives are using a synthetic like a POM, a polyoxymethylene. I think that's what the POM stands for. It's a thermal molded plastic is what it is. But really resistant to heat, to cold, to moisture, blah, blah, blah. G10 does all of those things, except it's more expensive because of what the material is, layers of fiberglass mat and mixed with epoxy. It's got to be pressed, it's got to be baked, it's got to be blah, blah, blah. G10 is just a better material. It's a more expensive material than just a thermo-molded plastic. And then the pins, I'm pretty sure, are stainless. They're not nickel. They're a little bit too bright silver, and there's been no signs of tarnishing or yellowing that you will see in nickel silver pinning like you would commonly see the pins on a case pocket knife, the bolsters on those. They're nickel silver, and they'll start to yellow or patina over age. I've had this knife for a few months now, and I've seen no signs of that, so I think that's probably stainless as well. So there you go. Material-wise, again, 14C 28N for your blade steel, and you're in G10 for your handle scales. I think still at $41 shipped to your door. We're looking at a pretty decent deal here. Let's look at the fit and finish and see how that holds up. We'll take a look at the blade first. We're going to get up really close here and look across the grind to see how clean and even. What you're looking at right now is the reflection of my camera in this blade. As it moves across, look for the edges of that camera to distort, to sag in any area. That will show you defects in the grind, any dips in the grind or high spots in the grind or anything like that that you might not be able to see with just your naked eye. This will help you do that. It's a very good, both sides, no issues there. And look at that. Look at that. You can see me. I'm all distorted, but you can see me. So there you go. As far as the grind goes on it and the quality of the finish on this satin finish here, we're going to look at the secondary bevel here. The edge bevel on both sides is very well done. Like I say, it's a very light 9/1000 behind the edge. It's a very thin and slicey. I do not want to bobble this knife in front of the camera and have to catch it, because you do not want to catch a 9.3 ounce knife by a blade when it's that thin behind the edge and that well sharpened. Going into the handle, the fit and finish is exemplary. Let's get around all around the edge here. Let's look very close at all the joiner sections here. It is just very, very well done all the way around. There's no nail catches. There's no defects. The fit is smooth and flush and full. The pin fitment is very good. When they were ground down, it's just a very, very cleanly done, as everything that I've seen from Tucson is. It is just a very, very cleanly done. So no issues with fit and finish there. Now, I'd like to bring out sort of a comparison, and this is not going to be a cheap versus expensive because neither of these knives is expensive, but one is definitely cheap. I have a beater set of knives in my kitchen that is made and branded Schrade. Of course, Schrade did not make it. They're Chinese made. In a mystery steel. There was absolutely no mention of what the steel is, but it's a similar drop forged construction. And we're going to take a look at what you see here on this knife. Let's get up very close. Now I want you to look at the surface finish. There's scratch marks all in it, sharp edges here. It's not comfortable. It's not ergonomic. The fit all the way around is just nail catchy all the way around in between. All of these joints, you know, it's not flush fit at all. Now, granted, I bought this set and it's a 6-piece set. It was like $40 for the whole set. And I bought a bunch of them and gave them out one Christmas for Christmas presents. And I kept one for myself as a beater in the kitchen. Because many times in the kitchen, you're going to reach for something. You don't want it to be your super refined, super nice, thin behind the edge chef's knife. So that is what you're looking at on the cheap side. This is what you're looking at on the, I don't even understand how they can make it this good for this price side. That is a great thing about Tucson products. All of their products are just smoking hot for the money. I mean, a lot of people are like, Chinese this and Chinese that, and it's all crap and it's all junk. But I'm telling you right now, I've had a ton of their product come across my desk. It's all really, really good. It's all really good. And the price and the materials, they are just killer deals. If you're interested in a chef's knife at all, go over to White Mountain Knives, do a search on Tucson chef's knife, and it'll bring up all the models. I bet there's 20 different models in different designs, different handle materials. They've got some Sanmai Damascus. That's probably like a VG10, VG1 core with stainless cladding on each side of it, which is pretty, classic and modern sort of cutlery that does that Damascus type of thing. They're just a fabulous, fabulous deal. Now, very quickly, because we want to make this one of these quick look reviews, this knife is not perfect as a purely European pattern, French pattern chef's knife. There is one issue to it that I would like to see improved, and that is the drop from the plane of the handle down to the edge of the blade. This area right here should enable you to choke way up on this knife. All right, when you use a chef's knife, a lot of the times you are choked up beyond the handle, okay, and you're cutting and you're just working, you're up towards the center of the knife. You are in more control of the blade for fine cuts or specialty cuts. So this area that next down is important. This area is. I would like to see this come straight up to a much more closed radius here, but allow me to get further up right here. Okay, it needs to be a little more straight up and come back in a little more sharper radius coming back into this. That, I think, would really improve this. And of course, the clip point design is 110% aesthetics. It's just cool to do it that way. It doesn't really affect the knife. Does it give it a little more acute point than a classical sort of drop point, a straight spine chef's knife? Yeah, it does a little bit, but it's not radical or anything. By the way, that's sharper than shit. I think overall, it's very, very good. Not quite perfect just as a chef's knife, but as a knife that's been produced and sold, it's pretty much perfect as far as the realization of the design, the fit and finish, the manufacturing, all aspects of that. Pretty much perfect and damn well worth $41. I would stack this up against any series of Henkel knives or Wusthof knives, any of those popular brands. And I have handled, when I worked at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, entire section of the downstairs of that business is dedicated to kitchen cutlery and kitchenware. They get every brand, all series, very high end. If you want to go spend $1,500 or $2,000 on a knife block set, you can do it. If you want to buy something cheaper, you can do it. But I have handled a ton of these sort of drop forge type builds in chef's knives, and none of them are made any better than this. None of them are made any better than this. Plus, we get the knife steel here. And you don't get that with any of those other brands. You just don't get that information. And to me, that really wakes that price point up. So there you go. That is the Tucson TS888 chef's knife. Yeah, I didn't get in the kitchen with this and do part of the review in there because I wanted to do this, a short, quick look review. But trust me, I mean, you're looking at 82 thousandths stock thickness, less than 9 thousandths of an inch behind the edge thickness. It is very slicey. It cuts true. It's an easy cutter. The only thing that could be improved, maybe opening this section up here so I could get up on it a little more, maybe. So there you go. That's the Tucson Knives TS888 clip point chef's knife, 8-inch chef's knife in 14C 28N. Again, check them out. They are a fabulous, fabulous deal in a chef's knife. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.